It's
All views expressed by the hosts and guests in this podcast are solely their opinions and do not reflect the opinions of their respective employers. Guests and hosts may maintain positions in the assets discussed in this podcast. This podcast is for informational purposes only, and nothing in the podcast is intended to be financial, legal, or even life advice.
We are in Seoul, Korea.
You're at KBW. We are live and alive. Yep. Yeah. I have a bit of a FOMO looking at all the dancing posts on my timeline. It seems like a lot of people are really going to Korea for the Korean markets. It's like a meme that I've been saying. Man, it's like everybody's looking for the listings.
Right. I've never seen people obtain merch better than the Korean community here. Our booth on day one. So I guess for context, we had our mainnet public announcement on September 22nd, and then KBW kicked off on the 23rd. Our booth flash mobbed for the merch, where we had to basically rope it off, and we had our head of events throwing 0G t-shirts out into the crowd. And when people grabbed them, they would fight amongst each other and try to rip the shirts.
Wow.
Wow.
Gee.
And so it was the first time that I've ever seen that. I've been in the space for coming up on a decade now. And, made me feel really bullish.
This podcast is brought to you by 0G.
AI and Web3 technologies has been a frequent topic in the industry. 0G is a layer 1 blockchain platform that aims to address challenges in decentralized AI infrastructure. To its website, 0G offers verifiable AI serving and scalable data availability intent for real-world AI workloads. The platform uses modular architecture designed to overcome specific bottlenecks in decentralized AI. Projects can adopt either the full AI stack or selective layers, with emphasis on scalability, cost efficiency, and trustless verification.
And they're not doing this alone either, backed by nearly 300 investors, including Samsung Next, Alumni Ventures, Bankless Ventures, and more, plus partnerships with heavyweights such as Chainlink, Solana, Optimism, Google, and even Alibaba. And to really fuel the ecosystem, the 0G Foundation has launched an $88 million growth program and accelerator with Web3 Labs, supporting over 1,000 dApps already in the pipeline. Oh, and the network, over 8,000 validators and 5,000 storage nodes, strong. So yeah, if you're into the future of crypto and AI, keep an eye on 0G. Dude, we should be at KBW Lembro next year. I've actually never seen the Korean hype. I mean, I've seen it on the charts, but I've not seen it. But yeah, no, I feel like this is a pretty timely episode. I mean, yes, you said you guys just just launched, and I think the TG was also in the past week or so, right? So yeah, just for some of the listeners who might be tuning in, or if you're listening this on a pod, we have Jake Salerno from 0G Labs. And we're pretty much just gonna chat about what's the journey so far, what can people look forward about, and so on. So in our fashion, at the start of every single episode, we have Lambro asking the rapid fire questions. So I'll let you fire away.
Let's go.
Yeah.
All right. Token price, community, or tech? How would you rank them?
Community is number one. I think KBW has proven that. And also our global community is unbelievable. We've got such dedication around the globe, which I think is pretty rare to see with a project that's so new. We've really been a public kind of entity since coming out of stealth in March of 2024. And to have this following in that amount of time, I think is a pretty great thing to see. And then of course, I forget exactly what the ranking was, but tech would be number two, with us being as performant and I would say scalable as possible. It's really cool to see what we're achieving on chain. And then when you have those two things together, you get a great token price. And, of course, the rest kind of falls into place.
Nice. Oh, all right. The second rapid question are, where are we in crypto AI cycle?
We are currently in the best position that it's ever been, given the fact that our mainnet just went live, right? because we are a full stack solution. I think crypto AI has had so many phenomenal projects attack kind of one specific part of that problem, right? We've been able to service a lot of the, what I like to call meat and potatoes, the unglamorous things that allow crypto and AI to exist. And that sits across our modular solutions, right? So we've got a layer one blockchain that's
L1.
super
Yep.
performant. Yep. Then we've got decentralized storage. We've got a data availability layer and then a compute network. And so put those four things together, you've kind of got the core principles that allow chain AI to exist on chain. Most of the time that starts with storage, right? Because back in the day, you know, even now you're trying to store a gigabyte on, let's say, existing layer ones that aren't as scalable. That's going to cost a lot of money. I mean, we're talking six figures plus per month. And so with 0G storage, you can store terabytes of data on chain, whether that's like unstructured data, structured data, a full AI model for, you know, $8 to $11. And so therefore the barriers for entry for people to store this data on chain becomes a lot lower, and people then can then use this data for whatever their purpose is. But most of the time it's used to, you know, train models, to fine tune them. And then therefore the data has provenance, it's attestable. And if you're providing data, right, you can get rewarded. So these big giants today, right, the 5 or 6 companies that are kind of controlling AI have taken our data because we attested to the terms and conditions, right, for the last 20 to 30 years. And now they're using all of our data to create these models and fine tune them with these data warehouses that you're seeing. That's why NVIDIA is like the largest company because they're using all the NVIDIA chips. And then I'm paying, you know, $20 to $200 a month to use their models that were trained on my data. And it's something that we're solving to democratize AI. And through those solutions I just discussed, it allows that to happen.
Nice. Well, do you have any comments on actually, let's go down deeper later on and finish off the rapid fire question first. Where do you I think your DAT launch your which was great. Where do you think we're in the DAT cycle and overall right now?
Yeah, zero stack DAT on NASDAQ developed in a few months pre-TGE. Pretty exciting. We're the first, it was the first DAT to go live with a pre-TGE project, which was cool. And I think speaks a commentary about where we are in the DAT cycle. I know you guys aren't at KBW, but that was actually like something I noticed about topics on panels. There was a lot that were around DATs this year, and I had never seen that in previous years. So I think that because a lot of regulation and I guess the folks in charge for the governments have gotten their head out of the sand and started to provide more clarity about the way that the Web3 space, the decentralized technology can play a role in not just us native folks' lives, but just normies in general. And we're seeing a big push for institutional adoption. The DAT is kind of a vehicle to allow that earlier access without going through all these different loopholes with an entity that needs to exist for this long in order to have that amount of institutional exposure. And we've seen some of the top blue chip assets gain exposure with like ETFs. I live in the States. It's great to see like Bitcoin and ETH and some of the alternative coins have a presence on traditional finance balance sheet. But we want to make sure that it doesn't take 2 or 3 years for 0G to be able to be on the balance sheet of traditional investors, right? And so that's going to be serviced through the DAT.
All right. Okay. If you were to add any feature to 0G right now, assuming no dev cost or time, what would it be?
That's a good question. So we are continually releasing research papers. I think 5 out of the 6 research papers that we've released have been accepted in the top leading AI conferences. And so when I think about what is live today versus what's coming and what is planned for the roadmap, I would obviously add those features, such as our modular solutions being fully integrated on all the different blockchains that exist today. Currently, 0G storage and the data availability layer and the compute network are prioritized for our layer one blockchain that just went live publicly a few days ago. So the next step is to have those modular solutions integrated on all the major chains, which, as our head of BD, really excites me because that is when the revenue really starts to come in. Right now, the revenue is coming in natively to 0G, but then I can scale this with my team across all the existing blockchains. And then, the only limitation is as fast as those solutions can be integrated natively for security. So those would be the features I'd add today, if possible, so I could just make 0G an absolute money printer.
I love it. I love it. Okay, I think you've sort of like explained some of the thesis behind it, but if we can take a step back a bit, just really wanted to understand, I guess, like the story behind how, like 0G itself, I guess, come alive, right? Like, I mean, like we would typically like ask about like the founder story and so on, but like given that you've been in the space for like 10 years and you've seen like the rise of like how this company sort of like came to be, if you can just share a bit more of that story with the audience. Yeah, like how did this idea even come to be?
Yeah, I got to tip my cap to our co-founders for coming together right when AI kind of went mainstream with a lot of the folks, and then we saw the convergence of AI and Web3 because, in my opinion, they're very bread and butter-esque, peanut butter and jelly. They just needed to kind of happen together for us to be able to maximize the potential for making AI a public good, which is our mission. So, as you guys know, I mean, everyone's got ChatGPT on their phone. Maybe they use Gemini, maybe they use whatever, but AI is rapidly advancing. Its powerful capabilities are largely confined to centralized systems and limited to a few large companies. So bringing AI into a blockchain unlocks this transformative potential, truly verifiable AI, user-owned data, powering AI apps, and then open censorship-resistant AI development is what we're working towards and what we're enabling today. There's a fundamental challenge that's held back this vision, and that's
Hmm.
AI's data hunger,
Yep.
intense compute demand, and then the need for speed. So without overcoming these hurdles, the dream of decentralized AI remains out of reach. And so when our co-founders came together, they sought to break these barriers, and 0G provides the foundational infra for high performance storage, scalable compute, and then this fast modular blockchain designed from the ground up to power the future of on-chain AI. So in kind of one sentence, let's say I'm in the elevator. Zero Gravity is the first decentralized AI layer one chain that orchestrates hardware resources such as storage or compute, and then software assets, which could be data or models or anything, to handle AI workloads at scale. And it bridges the gap between Web 2 AI capabilities and then Web 3 decentralization.
Okay. I mean, like that's cool and all that. I'm gonna ask the very Korean question. There's someone that commented any prediction for how this rocket ride might go. You guys definitely have a very successful TGE in terms of quick listings and momentum and everything. What do you think contribute to that success? Because I think the market was low key dying a little bit. The AI hype was slowing down. Like, what do you think was the right moves for you guys to capture the market attention?
Well, it helps that we have a phenomenal team that's well connected in the space that has pursued very previously unachievable endeavors to launch with over 22 major tier one centralized exchanges on the first day helps. That was not
100%.
easy. That was not easy.
Yeah.
I will I will tell you straight up that everything always has to happen last minute with them. It's playing poker. Everyone wants the best deal, and then you got to protect your integrity and your community at all costs. Because what you see in the space are negotiations with these kind of providers that in the long term will be very detrimental to the protocol because of what you have to give up. And so therefore the conversations that we've had with them, they see this vision. They understand that we are going to play such a large role down the road, and therefore they've been a bit more flexible when it comes to finding a win-win situation for us to be able to be working with them, for them to be able to make revenue off what we provide them, right? Let's not beat around the bush. They all just want to make money. We're going to be a big name, and they make money by supporting this cause. So it was great to have alignment there. And then for our kind of roadmap, the tokenomics, the actual ways that we make money, the token things, they see that vision too, because a lot of people have and struggle with product market fit in Web3, where their actual protocol on chain doesn't make any money. There's no fees because it's a race to zero in the space.
Yeah.
Previous to this, I worked at Chainlink Labs for 3 years, and I was leading the data product rollout. And so many of the competitors at the time would just undercut any sort of cost and sacrifice performance. It was just a race to zero. And we stood strong on our product positioning. And what kills your competitors, in my opinion, is time. It's who can stay around the longest, right? And so what you see with public entities in Web3 are the fact that they're funded and, typically survive with their public investment vehicle, which is their token, right? And if you have a super big market cap and you've got an inflationary schedule, you're going to be able to continually just extend your runway by selling your token to the open market. And that stinks because then the retail and people holding the token get dumped on, and maybe it keeps the price static. So what we've done for a lot of the strategy with 0G is the opposite, where we plan through the DAT to actually use 0G as a reserve asset. We're doing the whole buyback mechanism. And then through the product-led revenue, we will then use that revenue to continually invest more into that reserve asset 0G.
Makes sense.
So it's going to become a long-term deflationary model as the revenue increases. And we actually have ways to make money on chain, fellas. We have storage. We've got DA. Yeah, I was gonna say we make a ton of money doing this.
I trust you. I trust you. It's just that how excited and surprised you look, it just cracks me up. Like a crypto pro saying that my project actually has revenue in such an excited tone. Like our industry is fucked, man. But yeah. Sorry, sorry to break you up. I just had to comment that. But yeah.
Oh, I mean, launching a layer one ecosystem is giving birth, right? Like there's no beating around the bush here. I have some stretch marks from this past week. And it takes so much coordination, right? We were able to launch with like 100 day one launch partners on mainnet, which was phenomenal. And that was a coordinated effort to make sure that when people build on chain, they have all the basic requirements to build meaningful dApps, right? Like you need oracles, you need bridges, you need data, you need all this stuff for shit to exist, to put it very simply. So that was step one, right? And what I can kind of chime in on is that so many of these folks across every Web3 category do not make money with our consumption of their service. They make money by charging our foundation crazy integration fees, and it's a one-time thing. So I have a conversation with provider A. They're like, oh, this is going to be, $250K one time, and you got to pay it in stables or USD. I'm like, no, like I'm not going to pay that at all. And you're going to figure out your product market fit, and then we're going to service your solution to our industry that will use it. So they're basically coming to us and saying, hey, we know that you guys raised $390 million. We know that your treasury is deep. Puts me in a tough position to negotiate sometimes because they know that we've raised so much money, but I still always go as hard as I can to get the best value for our community. I know how to play this game. And, we were able to get basically every single integration that was necessary into a better spot for a win-win situation. We were able to use diversified streams for their income and ours. And that was what I was trying to design. But
you have to be like,
everyone was just asking for integration fees left and right. And I'm just like, is that really what Web3 is? It's just all integration fees and then no product revenue on chain. Not with us, but with a lot there. That's the reality.
Okay.
I love this. I love this.
I love it, man. Like guys bring the hustle into like building the small things actually matters a lot if you think about it, right? Like I know people are paying seven figures for like certain DApps or certain native asset to come on, etc., which is kind of fucking bullshit. But sure,
Yeah.
I don't judge.
You
I
know
mean,
what's crazy though? Like when we first came to market, it's like, yeah, we raised a bunch. Like we've got a ton of testnet traction. Everything's going well. And the big players in the space really played hard to get. And they're like, why should we care about you guys? We're already cozy with these three or four ecosystems. Like, yeah, sure, you guys are gonna make AI public good. Like, whatever, prove it. And like we've proven it to a degree. And guess what? Ever since that we had this amazing mainnet launch and a very successful TGE, guess who's in my DMs? Guess who's responding right now? Saying, you know what? We should probably hop on that call now, Jake. And I'm like, sure, let's do it. Like, but
Oh,
it's great to see the leverage kind of flip around.
okay. If
makes
I'm a
sense.
new, moving on to the next topic, if I'm a new user that don't know anything about 0G and I'm intrigued by the revenue you're talking about, what kind of
Yeah.
stuff I should be aware of? Let's say, is there a dashboard? Is there something I should predict? For example, the more people use your infra, and then like how should I think about this? Is like for perk decks, right? Like I'm more a DeFi guy, so perk decks, like if the market is volatile, then I know the fees are going to go up, and likely there's going to be a rotation there. How should I think of this in 0G's angle?
Yeah. So this is a great question. And to answer it in two parts, when I joined, we had some really technical resources on our website. And even as a Web3 native guy, like I'm reading our docs, I'm like, wow, like this is crazy, but it's too many big words. Like, let's simplify this idea. So we built a brand new website. It's super visual. I'm a visual learner. And so 0G.ai is our main page. And what it does is it visualizes and explains all these really large ideas in like one sentence. And it shows you physically how each one of these solutions stacks into each other. So that's a great place to start. Don't go to the docs first, go to the website, look at it, and then click up on the top right to the docs, because it just puts kind of what I've described in simple writing. And then as you get deeper and deeper into the documentation, it gets more technical, it gets more builder driven, because you've obviously made it that far. You might as well deploy now that you get it. So yeah, main page first, docs.0g.ai is obviously a great resource, and we've revamped those. But then we've also got the hub, which is 0G Hub, and those are linked at the bottom of each one of these pages. And that'll have, the kind of main page, main vein of the overall ecosystem where we list apps. We've got the blockchain explorer, we've got the bridge, we've got the, AMM and all this stuff kind of built into it. And over the next couple of weeks, now that all these projects are going live on our chain, kind of like the core DeFi stack and like all these initial AI optimized Web3 dApps, we're going to aggregate those on that hub where people can just like treat it like the app store. It's like, oh, I just got a new iPhone. I'm going to go to the app store, get all the, kind of major things that I need. And then that'll just create a holistic experience for the ecosystem. And it's not just going to be siloed where you have to follow all these accounts on X and go to their website. It's just going to be a holistic kind of viewpoint.
Nice. Okay, looking forward to that. Well, by the way, just another question on going into like the speculation side, if you don't mind.
Mm-hmm.
If I am someone that has no exposure to 0G right now, is there like imagine you're a random Twitter shiller, what would you say to get me in? Or is there any for upcoming catalysts or dates or events that I should care about?
Yeah, well, now that we're on every major global exchange, I think that people now have access to 0G and can treat this as kind of a vehicle to have exposure to the full landscape of decentralized AI. And there's differences, like you can go to CoinMarketCap and you can click that tab that says AI. And each one of those tokens does, one thing typically, or it's just like an AI speculated bead or whatever. But a lot of those vehicles that exist today do one thing, and you're kind of taking a bet on one thing. Well, imagine if you were able to take a bet on the full decentralized AI space, right? That's what 0G is, because we provide all those solutions that make revenue, but then through our compute network and service
Mhm.
marketplace, all of those partners that are kind of existent today on those markets invoke their services to 0G and serve the full ecosystem. So we're not like a compute company, right? We're 0G. We do a bunch of different things as a platform, but anyone that provides compute can invoke our SDK on the
I
compute
see.
marketplace and then service all of our dApps. So that in general holds a lot of partners right into our flywheel effect. And then the 0G token is used to pay for all the services, right?
So
Which
is
is
it like a
exciting.
staking system? If you can just explain a bit on that.
Yeah, so obviously the layer one is a proof of stake, and then 0G is used as gas. And then we've got all these different services that use 0G as payment, right? If you're going to store, pay in 0G. We've also got all these paymasters and account abstraction integrations, right? So if someone were to be in like Web 2, they could still use 0G storage. It's just abstracted where they could pay with a credit card and then it buys 0G on the back end. So we're keeping this
I
very
see.
straightforward. So therefore, the total addressable market for us is not just Web3 decentralized storage. It's any sort of storage, cloud storage. We're going after that market. And if you think about how much people are spending on cloud storage with Amazon today or Google, trillions and trillions of dollars, but when we look at our prices versus theirs, we're able to undercut them by about 80%. People don't care about who they store with, assuming it's safe and it does the job. So if we're able to do it for a lot less and it's got decentralized cryptographic integrity, that's great. People
What's
will just
the
pay less for a more secure solution, and then 0G benefits. So does our
what's the
network.
secret sauce behind that, I would say?
Brilliant engineering team. And I'm not technical, don't get me
A
wrong, but
team that actually works in crypto, not just for
yeah,
marketing.
yeah, it's someone that actually builds a product and
Right, right.
then brings on a great team to market it. And so when I first met Michael, they had built this phenomenal product and they wanted to scale it. And so he was looking for his head of BD, and I was like, look, you guys are going to make this easy because it actually works. So I'll bring in my network. We'll be able to go to market with this aggressively, and I'll make your engineering team look amazing. And so does our marketing team, and so does everyone else.
You
I
almost made
remember,
Lambro spill his
yeah,
drinks
go on.
because it actually works.
It
Does it
actually
actually
works.
work?
And then I was thinking that,
Isn't
oh,
that
you were in
funny?
Chainlink?
Hey. Anyway, no, dude, but like, okay, I'm gonna put this guy on mute, but like, anyway, no, like one like thing that I'm actually like curious because like we used to like Clember and I think we talked with like the virtuals guys in like the early days of like AI hype, right? But that
Yeah,
was more of like AI token, AI memes, and so on, and. We've been hearing like a lot of the big brain people in crypto sort of like talking like, oh, can decentralized AI like truly beat like centralized AI, blah blah. Like I guess sort of I'm just very curious if you can take us into like one example of like when you talk to like these business like enterprise customers again like you have like revenue and so on, right? Like what is the easiest thing to sell to them? Like is it like simply that, hey, our storage product actually works and it's cheaper and we have like provenance? Is that really it? So that's like more like education that you have to do, or like what is it? Or is it like because they, oh, like I don't want my data to be stored by like Microsoft in their clouds, right? If I'm like training my own models,
yeah.
what's been the easiest sell? Yeah.
So there's an interesting way to approach. I would like to say enablement in Web3. I think sales was
Yeah.
kind of like a hard word. Like I don't want to
Yeah.
be referred to as like a sales guy. Like that sounds like I'm selling
Yeah.
snake oil. Like, oh, you're a sales guy.
Yeah, yeah.
What I'm actually doing is educating people on what exists. That's all it is. Because most people have no idea that 0G exists with these performance metrics and the costs associated with it, right? We just came to market publicly. Education's key. And then to answer your question directly, scalability through decentralized coordination is probably the most glamorous thing that is going to stand out to some of the larger Web2 enterprises. Because, and this is actually very prevalent this week specifically, because like, Sam Altman and all of them have been on the news this week with these investments into data centers all
Yep.
across the US, specifically with Project
Yep.
Stargate. And so they've basically pooled together $500 billion to build all of these data warehouses in the US. And they're distributed, but they're breaking ground this week. They've identified the sites, and that's a lot of money, and that's a lot of resources to pull into compute and these kind of data warehouses. There's, billions of people across the globe. And most of them have computers or access or just some sort of hardware that can serve a compute network, right? So if you think about all those latent devices that are just glorified paperweights, for an example, I've got a Razer laptop at home. I did a bunch of architecture stuff in the past, but it's got like, a 2000 NVIDIA core processor in it.
Yeah.
And it's a glorified paperweight. Like literally, I think it's just like sitting on my desk with like one of those designer books next to it. It's like a coffee table piece. I could plug this thing in and contribute to a DPIN network. And yes, I'll pay a little more electricity, but I could use that as a revenue making machine and contribute this compute to a network. And if we were to all do that, right, you wouldn't have to spend $500 billion and 3 or 4 years building all these warehouses to serve that centralized entity. And they're trying to do that themselves to, of course, control this whole system, right? They want to keep it in house. But us as the people, if we take all of our resources and pool them together, we beat, it's the David and Goliath moment. We beat Goliath as a bunch of little Davids coordinating our resources. So that's cool.
It's
And we
brilliant,
could do that
David.
overnight, right? We wouldn't need to build a $500 billion infrastructure. We could all just use and take the resources that exist today, contribute to a network tomorrow, and then all of a sudden serve all the AI scalable issues.
Nice.
There you
But
go.
like I'm not technical, so the question is that a lot of argument is that because it's fragmented, it wouldn't be as efficient or performance compared to centralized data storage or processing.
So when you think about the use case, I like to kind of design with the use case in mind. If you need like a military grade type of compute network, that's something that you can select as a user. You have optionality. If you need like extra security, extra encryption, great, select that. If you need extra speed, if you need low latency for this use case, select that. There's really kind of like three different types. There's like, okay, the 0G solutions, let's just generalize them all. Do you need the fastest? Do you need the most optimized for your use case, or do you need the most secure? Like there's just going to be ways that you can um, tailor certain use cases to the way that you're served. And that's just kind of like a platform play that you already see in Web 2, right? With like different types of internet speeds and different types of security and this and hot wallets, cold wallets. There's all these decisions that we can make as consumers. And so we're just servicing all the different options as 0G, right? We want to be agnostic to any use case and make sure that we can serve it.
Mhm. Understood. So, okay, looking ahead, what's like the next milestone or the next target for, let's say, 0G, like the ultimate vision in the end?
I think ultimate vision, actually, let me work backwards. So we just launched with 100 partners on the chain. And now we've got over 400 projects that are playing catch up right now that have deployed on our test net, that have signed agreements with us to garner our support, whatnot. It's permissionless at the end of the day, but like we still operate with different business partnerships and stuff where we have those things in place. And now our whole kind of like tech team and user success team is bringing those partners online as phase two. Chains up, it works. All the solutions are up, they work. Great. Get everyone that's committed online. Perfect. That's phase one. That's probably going to take the next 4 to 6 weeks, assuming the counterparties, um, you know, are able to meet those timelines as well. But that's phase one. Phase two is going to be going after those additional blockchain markets, right, with these solutions. So you can actually just run an analysis of who's using decentralized storage today, who's using data availability, who's using compute, and we can go attack all those markets proactively. So your ecosystem page, let's say you're doing this, is now my CRM lead target. So that'll be fun going out there and being like, hey, like, not to be a sales guy, but let's save you some money, right? And get you stood up on 0G because your CFO doesn't give a shit. He just wants to make sure that we're not burning more resources on things that serve the same use case for you, but are less costly. Great. So that's going to be kind of phase 2. And then phase 3, we're doing all this tech rollout with some of these more optimized future-esque type visions that our team has been talking about. But we're going to keep it simple and really just go after the Web 2 market as much as we can once we hit a critical mass in Web 3. Because in my opinion, having come with the background from Chainlink, we secured DeFi and we became the industry standard as Chainlink securing DeFi. And then we were able to go to TradFi and be taken seriously. And now they're securing TradFi, right? So if you think about the little tiny square, the total addressable market for DeFi, it is a drop in the effing bucket when it comes to the amount of money that exists in the world that could be brought on chain. And I'm not going to bore you guys with all those different headlines that you're hearing right now with like the stable coins and all this stuff that's coming on chain. Great. Well, think about Web 2 AI and how much money is in that. Let's secure Web 3 AI first as 0G, and then we go after the behemoth. So that'll be the ultimate jugular shot that the community that's listening can get behind by learning about 0G today and then taking action with any sort of tech or any sort of exposure to the tech that we're building.
I see. Wait. So when it's the tech that you guys are building, so let's say I'm just a typical on-chain Web3 users right now, because like your mainnet doesn't have like the typical layer 1 stuff to play around, like swaps, meme coins, DeFi lending, all this, or like is what can I do for now? I'm just prepping myself for it.
Yeah. So all of these partners are coming online, if not already online. So if you were to go to 0G.ai, or excuse me, 0G Labs X account, you're going to see all these posts about certain dApps that have now gone live on our chain. So Jane
I see.
is
So there will be things that we can play with.
Yeah, so like Jane just went live. That's our V3 instance where you can swap, right? You can bridge via all these different bridges to get your favorite liquidity to our chain to swap with 0G. We have a meme coin launching. Like there's a bunch of things that are happening right now that people will be a little bit more familiar with an AI layer 1, or excuse me, with just a layer 1 ecosystem.
Right.
And then over the next, I would say 7 to 10 days, we've got all these native dApps that we're doing announcements with, because we wanted to roll this out where chain successfully went live and it stood the test of time, right? Like nothing broke, nothing blew up in our face. We got our community what they deserved with a lot of the incentive programs that we were running in the past, right? They got taken care of. We got our solutions online. Perfect. Like, let's not overextend ourselves by having 100 dApps go live, because the last thing we want to do is roll something out too fast and have it break. Not because it's not designed perfectly, but just because we haven't been able to test it in a mainnet environment with this many users. Everything's tested and now rolling out one by one to keep people on their toes. Because if we just do everything at once on day one, people be like, "Oh, great! Like, I'm bored. Like we've already got everything." So we want to keep the excitement rolling out kind of day by day as a strategy to keep our ecosystem engaged and looking towards the future. You can kind of think of it as like an advent calendar for dApps. And that's our CMO actually loves to say that. She's like, "Give me an advent calendar of announcements for the first month. I want our
Can I have a
community
look at
to
the
open each
calendar?
day."
I want to be early.
Yeah. Yeah.
This guy.
Yeah, exactly. Like exactly. So that's
I'll
what we're
slide into your DM.
working with. Perfect. DM accepted.
Okay. All right. Do you have any questions for us?
So you guys have obviously done this and have been doing a great job doing this, bringing a community together. What are your hot takes on like the decentralized AI landscape, and how's this conversation stack up to some of the other ones that you might have?
So I'll start with my more degenerate side first. Like Marco and I run a chat group on Telegram as well. And I think like because of the last AI run in crypto, people don't really believe in infra. I was quite surprised. Like I know you guys did the DAT and everything and stuff like that, but I was quite surprised how well the token went as well. I think there might be potentially like because we might be too degenerate in the trenches too much where we don't believe in anything anymore, and then we need
Mhm.
something to feel or like so like VC coin like it was the first thing, right? It might be cool, but I need to wait out the airdrop to be dumped first, etc., etc. And that's why I kept asking, like, is there anything to do? Because like for me, I need to kind of touch and use it to make me feel like it's more solid, right? Because over the years we've been feed with so much bullshit that doesn't make anything sense when you look
Yeah.
back, right?
I think you need to start by touching grass, bro. To be honest, maybe start with going outside, but in general, I think I get it, dude. Like you're looking for the next 100, 1000x, right? And if you do the math with the amount of success that we've had, like it would need to, you know, break certain records to even achieve that. Doesn't mean that 0G and the ecosystem can't have that experience, right? So all the dApps that we're launching with our ecosystem, like those are definitely the moonshots, right? So 0G is used as the gas, like the lubricant for all that to happen, right? You're wearing a Solana shirt, Marco. Like, why did Solana's token do so well? It's because of the ecosystem that they've created that uses that as the asset to then fuel these 1000x moonshots and all these crazy things that go up and down. Regardless, as infrastructure, you win if things go up or down because you service both use cases. It's like a centralized exchange. No matter if the token dumps 100% or goes up 100%, they are making money on the exchange fees, right? And no matter if AI goes up or down, we as 0G are making revenue on servicing that. And so I think that's kind of the way that you can position yourself as a little bit more of a hedge against maybe the fact that something can go up or down in value as just a speculative
Makes sense.
asset
Makes
that doesn't
sense.
have any
Yeah.
backing. I've positioned my career to service infrastructure
Yes.
because no
Yeah.
matter if it's a bull market or a bear market, I have a job.
That's a good way to put it. No, like I'm gonna be like easier. Like, it's not really easier, but I guess it's true, right? I think the issue with a lot of like infra or like projects who are mostly B2B is that like it's very hard for them to market to, I guess, both market their token and market what they are to like the consumers, right? And I think Chainlink was one of the OG from the past cycle that did that extremely well with the Chainlink Marines. But like I'm
Mm-hmm.
feeling that as an AI infra project, I can see that I think the market has speaks for itself, and also like the hype in KBW that you were able to achieve that. Because I feel like sometimes these sort of projects, right, they might think, oh, why should we cater, right? Because like if we are AWS, we don't really need people to know, as long as like our product can speak for itself and we can get like enterprise customers, right? I mean, like AWS to still sponsor like smaller events here and so on. But I think in crypto, it's sort of
Mm-hmm.
like the other way around because your token is live first, right? So like you can't just sort of like think about it like, oh, I don't need to care about the. So like I think you guys did a very good job in like doing that, and a lot of like maybe like the AI infra from the past cycle didn't do as well on that aspect, right? They maybe like over indexed on like the technicalities and like all of that, which in crypto you have to be able to play both. Yeah, that's my take on it.
Yeah. No, it's a hot take, and it's funny you say that because like you never see like Amazon fanboys or something like you're rocking like wearing the Amazon
Yeah.
jersey, like oh I just love them, like you know they're so cool, like so it's fun to have like such a B2B revenue producing vehicle, but also with like such a passionate community, which is why I always put them first. I think in my head when I'm doing partnerships and integrations with projects, what would be better for my community? Not what would
Mhm.
be better for me, what would be better for the company or the foundation or whatever. What would serve the community better? And that typically leads me down an agnostic road saying, okay, as long as they have what they need to, and can choose, let's go that route. But I really got to tip my cap to our marketing team when it came to creating this identity for 0G. Like we have the panda, we have the coloring, we've got a lot of stuff that makes it very hype and fun and colorful. And it's still infrastructure at the end of the day. So we're actually bringing, this vibrant sense to infrastructure that is typically not glamorous. Like you're not hopping out of bed in the morning being like, I can't wait to bridge today. I can't wait to use an Oracle today. Like no one says that, right? But at least when you have to with 0G, it's fun and it brings people together. And there's a lot more of this community that comes together with, as you kind of mentioned, the lore that goes on with 0G, right? You want to like, share ideas and alpha and secrets within the 0G community about what's coming next. Like there is that lore that's happening behind our infrastructure, which makes it really fun that you don't see in Web 2.
Awesome, man. Like, I think that's a very good segue into the final thing.
What do you think is required to make it in crypto?
What do I think is required to make it in crypto?
Yes.
Bro, a smartphone. That's it. An internet connection.
Oh, that's actually
Yeah. People talk about
you're
like a lot of
one
bullshit
tap
dreams
away
and shit.
from your 1,000x.
One tap away. But in all honesty, fellas, like when I got into Web3 back in the day, I think it was, one, because I was part of like, the revolution against the big man, right? Like we saw what happened with like Wall Street bets and like Citadel and all that stuff, where you're like, wow, like they actually do control everything. And like they can just stop us at any time that they want. Like it's, Geppetto to Pinocchio. Like there always is someone more powerful than you that's working the strings. So, that was interesting. But, don't quote me on the statistic, but there's like, 8 or 9 billion people in the world. Like 2.5 to 3 billion of them are underbanked, where they don't have a bank account and don't have the way to do that. Like they might not have the information or the documents or something, but there's so many people that are unbanked in the world. Web3 allows them to transfer value in the world, right? All they need, and this is my favorite line, all you need is a smartphone and an internet connection, and you have a bank in Web3. And that's beautiful. So what does it take to get into crypto? Smartphone and an internet connection, which, must be going to bring Starlink to everyone. So
that's such a clippable
100%.
moment, bro.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry, 1 second. There's
away,
some live questions.
Cool.
Do you think you need to go to crypto conference to get alpha?
No, definitely not. I've been to like over 50 conferences in my days, and I've got a whole stack of like those lanyards in my closet. It's hilarious. Like all this stuff is going to be uploaded to YouTube, like the speeches that happen, like, maybe you're not hearing it from the horse's mouth, right? If you're trying to like take action on some sort of investment or whatever, but like this is all uploaded. X is typically the source of truth for any sort of alpha sharing. As you know, like there's Discords and Telegram communities and even Reddit and stuff like that. But crypto is all a decentralized technology that lives on your smartphone or your computer or whatnot. That's where the information lives too, fellas. So you don't have to go to a conference to get that and spend $500 on a ticket, $2,000 on a hotel, and in my international case, thousands of dollars on a flight and be out like $5,000 just to experience crypto.
Hey, conference is the real PMF, Conference is the real PMF.
Yeah, just and the amount of money that's spent on conferences is sickening. Like, there's so many side events this week, fellas, that like have probably cost
I think it's gonna
6
be even
figures.
more next.
Yeah, but I've personally been heads down. I haven't been going to a lot of events, and also the traffic in Seoul is like really tough, so it takes so long to get everywhere. There's your alpha. Traffic stinks in Seoul, but in general, I've gotten photos from some of my friends where they just send me a completely empty room from a side event. It's like some club, and this project spent 6 figures on this club and this activation with branding and a DJ and all this stuff. There's like one dude in the corner like sipping on like a Shirley Temple, and you're like, wow, what's the ROI on that? Like it's crazy. And everyone that's just running around the conference is like, they're all like going crazy about the merch. Like as I mentioned earlier, like people are just like running up to our booth, like just trying to snag a t-shirt and like split, like not even asking us what we're doing. Like, so it's sad to see, but yeah, it's the reality sometimes.
All right. Thank you,
it.
Jay. Thank you for your time. By the way, Jake, I'm going to ping you on doing on-chain stuff on 0G. I'm going to DM you.
Yeah. Dude, Lambro, I'm your guy. Consider me your liaison to Web3 and AI. Same with you, Marco.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
right,
right.
man. Again,
Take care.
the next
Thanks,
live.
guys.
Cheers.
Yeah,
Cheers.
appreciate it. Take it easy.